Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric and Chad here with Iraq Veteran 8888. Today we've got another Gun Gripe episode for you, and this is actually some good news for a change. I really hate that I have to be the bearer of bad news, and we always have to discuss bad things that are going on in the 2A community, and I hate that. I wish that all I could do is just make great positive videos about good things that are going on. But Oklahoma is getting with the program, and they have passed SB 1081, which is an anti-red flag law. So
about dang time.
Yeah, we need that at a federal level. We've discussed in many situations, how terrible red flag laws are. They are a very, very bad idea. They allow the police and the system to be weaponized against the public for gun confiscation. It's a very, very bad idea. And the gains that red flag laws give are very, very minuscule compared to the risk and infringement of our constitutional rights that they obviously employ. And we will jump into this a little bit. I do want to mention, before we get cracking on today's video here, go and check out the Jump app and go over there and join the Caliber crew. We're over there. It's a great app, new social media platform, no censorship, real easygoing people, freedom-loving. They're not going to try to tell you what you can and can't say. Really good group of folks. A great place to talk about guns and to just share ideas. Really cool place. But it's the Caliber crew is what we're a member of. I know Mike, Mr. Guns and Gear, a couple of us are over there. I'm over there. Jonathan, Tactical Toolbox, is over there. Check it out. Go download the app, the Jump, and it's the Caliber crew is the group. So there's like what they call jumps, and they're like little groups, but we call it the Caliber crew. Mm-hmm. So check it out. Come over there and join the conversation. We'll have a chat about whatever. So let's get into this a little bit. Now, we found out about this through Gun Owners of America. GOA, Eric Pratt, all those guys are there putting in the great work, doing really good things for the 2A community. If you can support GOA, do so. I'm a member of GOA. I support them monthly. And, of course, anytime in videos we can shout them out for their efforts, we, of course, want to do so. We've had Eric Pratt here on the channel before on Gun Gripes. So look up some of the older episodes if you'd like to hear some of his thoughts on all things freedom. So check that out. Eric Pratt's a good guy. But this comes from GOA. Mm-hmm. And this is out of Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah. So the governor just signed the bill on May the 19th. Gun Owners of America and its sooner members are celebrating the passage of Senate Bill 1081, which prohibits funds for red flag gun confiscation orders. So, more or less, the bill just chokes that aspect of Oklahoma law. Like, no funds can be put into red flag confiscations. So, good for them. If we had more of that across the country, I think we'd be in a little bit better place. We wouldn't have no-knock warrants and all kinds of crazy stuff going on, and people, innocent people, and police being killed and injured at an equally disturbing rate. But we've discussed red flag laws in numerous other videos, and they are certainly a dangerous precedent in modern times, especially in America, where a lot of people are armed and they will do anything and everything they can to defend what is theirs. And these red flag orders, when they're issued, they can be based on falsities. It's like like Eric likes to mention, the Karen syndrome.
It is the Karen syndrome.
And it is. I hate saying that, but it's...
Come on, Lil. Come on, say hello.
What you doing, babe?
Up here. Say hello. All right. So another thing to discuss, she had to come in and visit, I guess. Another thing I want to discuss, too, since we're talking about Gun Owners of America, we'll talk about FPC for just a brief moment. And they've really been pushing back hard against H.R. 838. And you guys know that's the threat level. It's basically... It's a red flag law. It's basically the TAPS Act kind of repackaged more or less. And our friend Dan Crenshaw over there has been a big supporter of the TAPS Act and basically federal level, nationwide red flag laws and everything. That's a bill that we do not want to see go anywhere. But unfortunately, it is a Republican-sponsored bill and has a bunch of Republican co-sponsorship. All right. And that's something that we definitely need to have a hard look at, and we need to contact our reps and let them know that we do not approve of HR 838. It's very, very scary. So this, I'm just sort of paraphrasing what the guys at Gun Policy, FPC, put out, which FPC is a great group. You should join them too. It would establish a task force to oversee monitoring private citizens under the guise of preventing targeted violence through behavioral threat assessments. Okay, so it's basically federally funded espionage, and it's very dangerous, and it will threaten the sovereignty of Americans, and it will deprive the constitutional rights of Americans, and it's like the Patriot Act, but way, way worse. And it's very scary. I mean, the Patriot Act is probably the single most worst thing that we've had come across our, our radar probably in the last 25 years, period. I mean, the Patriot Act is anything but patriotic. And the TAPS Act and other things like that and other red flag laws are a terrible idea. They're going to put citizens and law enforcement at risk. They're going to allow a system to be weaponized against the populace. Okay? And it's just a very terrible idea. And it's not good. It's very, very bad.
Yeah, a little bit more detail on the TAPS Act. And it's just, it might sound good to some on the surface, but you think about the far-reaching implications of something like this. Like, that sounds pretty draconian. The bill defines behavioral threat assessment and management as the systematic and evidence-based process of 1. Identifying individuals whose behavior indicates a capacity for committing acts of violence. 2. Investigating and gathering information from multiple sources to assess whether such individuals pose a threat. And 3, the subsequent management of such a threat. So where's the evidence come from? I mean, is it the same evidence that they use to issue no-knock warrants?
And the problem is once you give them the ability to make those distinctions based on whatever whim they deem necessary and whatever phantom evidence that they deem necessary, how do you know that power is not going to get handed off to an administration that's going to abuse it? Imagine a Democrat-controlled Republican or a Democrat-controlled House, Senate, and presidency that has that power under their belt to just come into your house and go, well, we've done a lot of research on you and we've determined you are one dangerous person and we can't tell you why. We're not going to give you a specific reason, but you got to come with us. Sorry. We're taking all these guns, you're coming with us, we're taking loony bin, whatever they decide they're going to do. I mean, that's the scary thing about it. We have due process in this country. You're innocent until proven guilty. Evidence must be brought against you. You must be accused. You have the right to face your accuser, okay, and demand that evidence be brought up to support their claims as to why you've committed a crime. But before that can even happen, you have to commit a crime. This idea is like, well, you haven't committed a crime yet, but you might. So it's like Minority Report, PreCrime.
PreCrime.
They want to have the ability to preemptively go, well, you haven't committed a crime yet, but you might. So therefore, reasons. And that's scary. When you give them the ability to open Pandora's box, you give them that key to Pandora's box, they are going to open it, they're going to use it, and they're going to abuse it. And you're also trying to trust the same system, okay, that manages the VA, the same system that loses promotion packs and paperwork and military documents, the same system that fails on numerous occasions, the same system that can't protect the citizens of all of these cities that are being looted and rioted against, all right? So you really want that same system to have the ability to open Pandora's box and do whatever they want to with it. Now, the guise of the bill, right, 838, the general idea of the bill is probably not a bad idea in their minds. I'm not going to doubt that Dan, okay, is being a major co-sponsor of the TAPS Act from day one. I'm not going to doubt that Dan doesn't love his country and that he's not a patriot and that he's not a good guy. I'm sure he is, right? I'm not going to doubt that at all. I'd buy the guy a beer, I'd shake his hand, whatever, But the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And I think that while their intentions may be honorable, I think the unintended consequences are always far worse than what we really see in front of us. So I don't think that there is some heinous misappropriation of logic on their part. I don't think they have bad consequences. I just think that they have a little bit too much trust in the system.
Bad intentions?
Right. I don't think they have bad intentions. I just think they don't understand that they're giving the government too much credit to do the right thing. And they have a history of not.
It's all about abuse of power as well. Like, I mean, how will a law like this, if it's put into place, be abused in future administrations? I mean, we've seen, recently with Obamagate and Michael Flynn and all that's been going on, which you may or may not have heard of with everything else going on in 2020 so far. But the media has a way of putting stuff back in a dark corner, and then just putting everything else that's maybe equally important, but most of the time not, to the front and center, to the limelight. But I was thinking about the Postal Service when you were rolling off about the VA and all, because the Postal Service has been in the red for years and years and years and years. But like UPS and FedEx and all, they turn a profit. I mean, how is that? Well, the federal government.
So what's going to happen? I mean, you've got a group of people who are at a financial deficit, and you're going to trust them with a deficit of your freedom?
Yes.
A freedom deficit?
Absolutely not.
Because that's what's going to happen. There's going to be a total lack of freedom, a lack of constitutional purview. Okay, it's not going to pass the lens of inspection for constitutionality. It's not. But then the issue is the Supreme Court can just pick and choose what they do and do not want to hear. So, okay, yeah, say that 838 becomes federal law, and now we have, federal level red flag laws, which is very frightening to me. It's very scary. This is the most afraid I've been as a citizen in years, to think that could be a federal level type of thing, right? But as delicate as that process is to begin with, and even just the lens of that situation, how delicate it is, it becomes even more delicate when, okay, say that now these things become law of the land, and there's multiple cases where people have been wrongfully accused and had their rights deprived of them, and then we have a lame duck Supreme Court that won't even bother hearing it because it's politically sensitive. We can't hear a gun case because it's politically sensitive. Well, that's really easy to just kind of defer that, right? Well, like Martin Luther King said, a right delayed is a right denied. Okay, if just because you know that the reason you hear the case, I'm talking the Supreme Court right now, they're not going to listen to me, but the reason the Supreme Court won't hear the case is because they know that if they have even the slightest amount of humanity in their hearts, that there's no way that it passes the lens of constitutionality.
Yeah.
And that's what's so sad about it. They just have the ability to go, well, we don't want case law in place, especially at the Supreme Court level. We don't want a Supreme Court case to be a landslide like Heller's. That's, Dick Heller changed this thing for everything. And that's what people don't think about. Dick Heller's case was a big deal. Mm-hmm. And it really reaffirmed a lot of very important things. And they're not going to make that mistake again. So when you have this lame duck Supreme Court, how do you know that they're not just going to go, all right, well, we see all these grievances and transgressions have been committed against people. We see them. We know they're there. We know they're unconstitutional. But, because it's gun related, nope, it's too politically sensitive. We can't hear it.
My big fear with something like the TAPS Act, I mean, I always say that I'm no conspiracy theorist, but a conspiracy is just that until it's proven true. Until the truth is known. But contact tracing, as you've seen recently with coronavirus, okay, you had the voluntary option, of allowing authorities to trace your contacts and your location and things like that, and who may have been around you that had COVID-19 and whatnot. And if you were exposed and such as that, they're using contact tracing right now during all the riots and such going on. So when does contact tracing become something that's not voluntary any longer and something that's involuntary? You are forced to. What happens when the government, tells Google, tells Facebook, tells Twitter, that they're supposed to turn over private records? When does the TAPS Act get amended, to just negate privacy altogether? How far down the rabbit hole will it go? Will it just be a little chip here and a little chip here until we're a draconian nation like North Korea, where the government controls the media, they control the narrative, they control everything, they control you.
And anything against that narrative, you're a criminal. You go to political prison.
And then we have a portrait of our supreme leader in everyone's house, and you bow and worship to your supreme leader, and you no longer bow and worship to the God of your choice.
Well, the issue too, okay, is that with everything that Chad said, another thing that I'll kind of add to that too is what's to stop them from putting some oversight committee in place that their job is to search all over social media and find people that have posted a picture of a gun or anything that they could even remotely deem as going, oh, that person's a gun owner. All right, well, they go on this list. And then they go down that list and they go, all right, well, let's look for these certain things. And they just keep narrowing that list down. And then they go, all right, well, all these people that made it on the list C, well, we're going to round them up and put them in re-education camp.
Yep.
I mean, and that's what they want. They want to re-educate people. They want to remove firearms as a normal thing in society. They want it removed from the view of society. That's the overall goal, is to denormalize firearms ownership. There's been a resurgence in firearms ownership in this year. In fact, as we sit on today, so see, today's date is June 2nd. All right, as we sit on June 2nd, firearms are at 80% increase in sales, which means that, yes, there's a certain amount of people that are fearful and they're buying guns because they want to protect their families. We've already addressed that in several other videos. Make sure you watch them and everything. But the fact remains, firearms culture has never been more in the forefront in America than it is right now. And it is continuing to grow, and people are starting to get the giant picture, and they're starting to understand how important it is for us to arm ourselves and protect our communities, right? And that narrative of, oh, well, only crazy people own guns, or suppressors are illegal, machine guns are illegal, semi-automatics are illegal. So all the law enforcement and the education system, they try to let these young kids know, oh, well, you can't own guns, those are illegal. You know, you're capable of telling a lie.
Yep.
You can lie to someone and say, oh, yeah, you can't own machine guns. That's crazy. Only crazy people want to own machine guns. So they've been trying to alter and control the narrative of what gun ownership is as a cultural thing, to the degree that now they're just lying out their teeth because so many people are waking up to the idea that, well, wait a minute, we can own guns. We can own suppressors. We can own machine guns. You know, and it's not abnormal to want to do so. It's actually quite a normal activity for someone to want to be a gun owner. So these things like 838 really do, and I don't want to take away from 1081 because that's awesome on their part.
It is.
To have adopted anti-red flag laws. We wanted this video to primarily be about that, but also I wanted to segue into the work that FPC is doing with trying to stop 838, because that is a terrible, nasty piece of legislation, and it has like 135 Republican co-sponsors. Like, it's got a lot of support. So we have to call these Republican turncoats out. And the thing is ignorance is a big aspect of this too. A lot of Republicans are jumping on and supporting 838 because Dan is a Republican and he's a well-respected Republican. And the issue is, oh, well, a Republican co-sponsored it, so it must be a good bill, so I'm a Republican, I'll support it. And they're not looking into the actual negative aspects that could come from this bill. And that's the scary part. People need to contact their reps and make sure they educate their reps and how dangerous these red flag laws can really be for the sovereignty and freedom of our people.
Yep. I was just checking the most current FBI background check numbers for the month of May 2020. So back in March, you know, when the coronavirus was really kind of taking a hold on the media and in everyone's mind and such, it was up almost 1 million sales background checks from the previous month. Dipped back down to 2.9 million, and now it's running back up again. Recently, with everything that's been going on with the rioting and looting and such and all the different protests, you've seen people going out again, you know, for firearms, stocking up on guns, stocking up on ammo, buying their first gun because, you know, they want to be able to defend themselves.
Okay.
I mean...
So, all right, something really interesting. All right, if you look at the data, okay, this is really interesting. Okay, if we look at the uptick, 3.7, and then now we're leveling out. Let's just round up to 3.1.
Yeah, 3.1.
Okay, 2.9. All right, now you're talking that was in March, right?
That was in April.
April.
Yeah,
okay.
This is May. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so that was in April. Okay, now if you compare that number to December, okay, now December, in each of these figures, the December numbers are always higher because people are buying guns around Christmas. So that would seem like a very, obvious trait that people buy more guns around Christmas time to give as gifts because we're awesome people and we give the gift of gun, right? Okay, but if you look at those numbers, yeah, 2.9. So you're talking Christmas level rush sales
right now
for 3 months and almost the entire year.
Yep.
So see, you got up to a 2.9, 2.7 in January, 2.8 in February, and then growing from there and not showing signs of stopping. So fourth quarter of this year is going to be a very interesting year for the firearms industry. And I think, and if I were a wizard or a fortune teller, okay, I would say that fourth quarter is going to be one heck of a time for companies that are selling like optics and flashlights and bipods and like night sights and things like that, because all these people bought their gun and they're like, all right, how do I accessorize? People are going to be buying all the accessories, extra magazines. They're going to be buying carry ammo. They're going to be getting training courses and all of those sorts of things. Now, not to get off on that tangent. No. I don't want it to be about that, but it is such a cool time to be an American and to have so many ways to protect yourself as an American. We can't give these bureaucrats in Washington an excuse to take that away from us, to take that fire, that wind out of our sails. That's a beautiful thing, that people are waking up and they're arming themselves. It makes me proud to be an American, okay?
Well, you have that option. I mean, you have the right and you have the opportunity to, if you so choose. And more people these days are choosing to defend themselves and have the tools necessary to do that. I mean, maybe it's a modern day renaissance of thought, just being more self-reliant and, not worrying about who's going to come to save me. I'm going to save myself. I mean,
it's just a renaissance in logic.
I'd like to think that that's the case. I mean, I really would. I mean, trying to look as at the glass as half full. I mean, trying to be an optimist about that.
And I certainly would like to think also that just patriotism in general is making a big comeback.
I hope so.
I hope that people are just getting patriotic again about just loving America, being a patriot, loving this country.
About being an American instead of a warring faction?
Yes, about being an American. So, guys, thanks for watching today's video. Please oppose 838. Contact your reps, Republicans especially, because those are the ones that are the worst in this situation. Contact your Republicans that are supporting 838. Go over and support FPC, support GOA. Those of you who purchase man cans over on our website, we've got some great man cans for sale. If you wish to support us directly, that's how you can do so. Also, great t-shirts available over on Ballistic Ink. Get yourself a Roof Korean shirt. Definitely want to take a moment to thank all the folks who support us on Patreon. You guys are amazing. Thank you so very much. We've got a lot of videos on the way. Lots of gun gripes coming. There's a lot of things to complain about, unfortunately. And I know I get accused by some people. I'll just mention this briefly. I do get accused by some folks of ringing the bell pretty often when it comes to this sort of stuff. And I know that we dive into these subjects pretty often. All right. But I feel like it's important to make sure we keep our fingers on the pulse of what's going on in the 2A community. We got plenty of gun content, plenty of 5 Guns videos coming. We got some more meltdowns on the way. We've got range videos on the way. Plenty of other stuff that's very entertaining as well. And I appreciate those of you who take a bit of your time to digest this content and help it kind of further your opinion about the Second Amendment and about our community at large and how we need to move forward. So thank you for giving us some of your time. Have a great day. We'll see you next time. Many more videos on the way. We'll see you.
See you guys.